I called the president. President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots. So call the dogs off. Send the National Guard, please. They need emergency help. Please help these folks. They're coming. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. Help is on the way, I promise you. The president, I called the National Guard. Okay. He said to the National Guard, help is on the way, I promise you. In 10 minutes, help will be here. In 10 minutes. Okay, you coming. We understand. He coming. They sending help.
Todd, that was almost me today. Calling for the National Guard, calling for you because Henry really needed the help. You know why?
Well,
you want to explain?
I wrote the game grades as I do, and what happened actually, so somebody tagged Alex and said like playing with fire, giving Alex a B+ or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's a B+. Like that's not a bad grade. So during practice, Alex comes over and is like, "What's up with that grade?
Oh.
You know how things go."
I don't know if he was like that.
That seems very calm.
Yeah. It wasn't like that. Alex Singleton smiles 99% of the time.
He does,
especially when looking at the media. Alex Singleton is walking over because they're warming up right in front of him.
Yeah, because we're inside, so we're right next to it.
We're close, And he walks over, sees the media, finds Hank. No smiles to be found.
Dang.
No smiles.
And just like, what's that? What's that great about? What's that? He turns around. I thought at some point there was going to be a laugh. No laugh.
It's true.
No laugh. And then we see him after practice.
Sure did.
He walks by, says pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah.
No smiles to be seen.
Because Josie was going to the podium. And so Josie's walking with him. And so then Alex said, like, don't answer his questions today. Like, all that stuff. And so then Josie, like, walks up there and, like, Alex is like, give me, like, whatever grade. And Josie's like, oh, yeah, what's my grade? I was like, oh, it's better because you have like a cool visor. And he was like, oh, so that's how we're doing things now. So like, not only am I threatened, I'm also not funny anymore. So
dang,
what a combo.
That's tough. I mean, you guys were already rivals to start, so this only just adds to the rivalry even more. And it's so funny because he's a happy guy, always smiling. But you know, sometimes you get taken there. I remember there was one time when I was playing, and somebody sent out a tweet. It was a media member, and I usually don't say anything, but there are certain times where you feel like, you know, I need to let, you know, this guy know what you know, who he's dealing with. But I don't think a B+ grade is worth it.
I mean,
I think that's a very favorable grade.
He was out there for what, like 2 drives? Maybe 1 drive. Like,
well, it's because you're misremembering the grade you gave him, Henry.
Oh, it wasn't a B+?
Oh God, what was it? Was it not B+?
It wasn't the best grade in the room, I'll tell you that. It was a B.
I thought I gave him the plus.
Singleton ended 3 quarterback scrambles on Saturday, and 2 of them were short of the sticks on third down. They're simple plays, but plays that Singleton makes every single time. He may have ditched his assignment in a cover 4 look, but if he'd extended to the boundary instead of sticking in the middle of the field, he would have left a different receiver open. Plus, Surtain was on the boundary, and there was a chance he'd be able to charge forward to make the play. It was probably good to bet on Surtain. He had a nice stuff on 1st and goal from the 2-yard line, but it was a ho-hum day for Singleton.
But that's good. It's good. B, that's a B. Good game. He did.
There's
he did
more to the story. There's a little bit more than you were telling, I think.
Also, that one play I was talking about, so like,
with ho-hum.
They've got ho-hum. Yeah, they're just another day for Alex. Like, goes out there, stacks a B. That's what he does. Plays a couple drives. Also, that play, so it's cover 4, or I think I wrote that, And so Pat's playing like off. And there's a receiver who just, I think it was some sort of like, or no, it was just a slant. So Alex, instead of coming over, there's like 2 guys coming out of the backfield. So he and Josie just both take one. So it's not like it's a bad decision to not extend out to the flat, because like one of those guys has to be covered, especially because you got Pat over there. So Pat can kind of like crash in and potentially make a play. Should have just left all that out.
Inexcusable. Totally.
Yeah. Well,
and didn't you tell? What'd you tell Josie? You graded him. Didn't you
I
say
told
B+ or
him it was
something?
better.
It was better. A-. He probably
Yeah,
would
I
have been
thought it was
happy
an
on the
A-.
podium if you would have told him that.
Yeah. I just didn't think it was funny when I said, yeah, you had a cool visor.
And you actually didn't even mention the visor in this.
I didn't. I didn't ask about it when I interviewed him last week.
So you joked
either.
about it, and he didn't even like the joke. You are just not on the same page with inside linebackers. Todd, you on a different page with Henry too?
Yeah, I think so. Now, here's my guy. I don't know what's going on there, man. I'll make a couple calls, see if I can smooth things out.
Okay, yeah.
So you don't have to worry for your safety.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What we need is Alex to not play this week and Henry to give him
Give
an
him
A+.
an A.
Yeah,
That's the plan.
Yeah.
You should write a segment today about how he got an A at this practice.
Oh,
True.
yeah. Just
That's
a
quick.
whole story.
Yep.
Wow. Just A+ from both
Man,
linebackers.
That's such a good, especially because nothing really happened today. This was Sean Payton called it a Broncos day where they
A
focused
ho-hum day.
yeah, it was a whole hum
that
day.
could be good. Just lunch pail, head on in there, play some good ball, go home.
You know who would
No picks or
hate if you called this day a ho-hum day to Sean Payton? Oh, man, your credential would be gone. He'd hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking back to Kay and how Kay like gets him to put on hats and stuff, and it's like I would lose my credential for doing like half the things, asking half the questions. But I don't know. Yeah, if I were to say that, not good things would happen.
Yes, that is very true. You know the definition of ho-hum?
Just another
Yeah, I think
middle of the road.
Yeah, I think you have ho-hum a little wrong.
Not all that
Henry.
exciting. Pretty boring.
According to Google, which is from Oxford Dictionary,
That's
ho-hum
smart.
is used to express boredom or resignation.
Exactly. It was boring. He just went out there and did his job. That's exactly what I've been saying.
But you never put boring and good together. Like, those are two separate.
Yeah. That would be like
Yeah.
a C grade to me.
Yeah.
For saying ho-hum.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a boring
Yeah.
Alex Singleton day. Like, what? Oh, congrats. You made the quarterback slide on like a 3rd and 8. Like, congrats. But it's like, good job. You did it. Like, but you're also always like, that's just a thing he does. You don't worry about when he's on the field. Like, he's paying attention. The quarterback come up to him. Like, I don't know. He didn't. It's not like he picked a pass off. It's not like he like hit anybody all that hard. Like, there's nothing that really like jumps out. It was just a nice, solid, good game.
Yeah, that's
Boring.
not what ho-hum means. Yep. And today it was really a ho-hum practice for the Broncos, Henry. I mean, you guys are spot on about
Yes,
that.
it was.
Kind of their final training camp practice for the Broncos in terms of just focusing on install and focusing on themselves. Because the Rams come to town tomorrow. We're going to get into that with joint practice. Then next week is that kind of awkward week. Did you ever have that? Did you play in a 17-game season?
No, I got out just in time.
Yeah,
for
you
the
got out
CBA.
just in time. So instead, you had 4 boring preseason games instead of 3.
Exactly.
But now, because there's only 3 preseason games, there's now 2 weeks after preseason's over, before the regular season. So that's kind of when they get to focus on more Broncos stuff next week. But today was boring.
Oh, yeah. Boy, was it boring. It's kind of fun. All the alumni were in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was kind of Jason the Snason,
Yeah.
our guy.
Yeah.
Do you know who Jason the Snason is?
No, I don't know who Jason the Snake
So
is.
when Jake Plummer was on the show with us, we asked him how he got the nickname Jake the Snake, and we're just like, oh, he's gonna explain like where the snake part came from, because it's like obviously his
I
name
found
is
a
Jake.
snake when I was young.
Exactly.
And
Turns out his name isn't Jake. His name is Jason, and he went to school with another Jason in like 1st grade or whatever. His teacher said, no, you got to pick a different name. And so that's where the name Jake came from. So we asked, like, yeah, where's Jake the Snake come from? He's like, here's the story of how he became Jake. So that's why we call him Jason the Snason.
Nice.
it's maybe
Yeah.
one of Henry's favorite things in life.
It's pretty
is
good.
Jason the
I didn't bring it
Snason.
up with him.
I was supposed to be there at Alumni Day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I was.
There were, a lot of your former teammates
Yeah.
there. A lot of former teammates that are also in the media, just like
True.
you now, Todd. Do you like being included in the media?
Yeah, I
You
love
like
it.
that? Okay, you love it. I'm glad.
Okay.
But you would have been able to big time Henry and I, because
That's true.
inside specifically, we are cooped up to this.
Uh-huh.
It's
pretty
20,
silly.
20 foot by 5 feet.
Yeah, it's like this
Area?
pillar. Like if you were to
Yeah.
look to the pillars, it's just kind of like this, and we all just stand there, and they got like the little ropes.
Yep. But if you're an
Yeah.
alumni, you don't have to be in there. So
That's
all
true.
the alumni that are media,
Yeah.
they would like stop in, say hi to some people, then just walk out of there and just be free on their own. You could have done that.
I know, could have just ditched my badge
Yeah.
right then and there.
Exactly.
Had a good day.
Yeah.
Who was there? We
Brandon
had,
Marshall,
Yep.
linebacker.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's still so confusing.
Uh-huh.
Tyler Columbus.
Yep. You didn't play with Brandon Lloyd. He would have been before you.
No, I don't think I played with Brandon Lloyd.
A lot of people, Henry.
A lot of people. Well, I'm trying to think that era. Like Steve Foley was there, but I know.
Okay.
Yeah, like that doesn't factor in here. Steve Atwater, of course.
Yep.
Who else was there? I mean, Big
B.
Al.
Marsh
of
needs to
course.
come on the show. I think B. Marsh would be a good guest.
Hell
What do you guys
yeah,
think about
he'd be
that?
a
Let me
great
hit him up right
guest.
now.
Yes, there we go.
I need to call in. Can we do like a call in?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
But when Todd's texting Brandon, there was 2 big stars that were at practice. You want to tell us about them, Henry?
Oh.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Well, see, I thought you were going to say Justin Simmons and Mike McGlinchey who practiced, but I don't think that's actually what it was.
Oh, no, it is what it was.
Oh, was it that?
But there was 2 other ones who you're talking about.
I know. It was.
Which we need to get to first.
Okay, first. So Drew Brees
Yeah.
and Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Once again.
Oh.
Jared Allen, I think, is someone that we can't include in this group anymore. He's
No, he's
kind of the
around.
Broncos coaching staff.
Yeah.
What do you think of guest coaches?
I think it's. Go ahead.
Because this is kind of like you actually, well, you probably didn't experience this too much, but DeMarcus Ware, he wasn't called a guest coach. What was it? What was his role? It was like a
Pass
rush. Wasn't pass
Specialist?
rush? Yeah,
Yeah.
but like part-time pass rush.
temporary. Maybe it was only
specialist.
for camp, right?
No, it's supposed
Was
to
he
go
a-
into the season, but
Okay.
then it kind of fizzled out. And they're doing that with Jared Allen. Jared Allen is now a pass rush specialist guest coach who comes a couple of times a week. And of course, he's borderline Hall of Fame player.
For sure.
And so he's checking in with the Broncos and was at practice today, was a couple practices last week. What do you think of guest coaches?
I like it. Shout out to Jared Allen, another big sky.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Idaho
yeah.
State, shout out. I think it's great because coaches are good, but there's only certain things they can teach you if they haven't played the position at the highest level. And I think you learn different things from a DeMarcus Ware or a Jared Allen that you kind of don't get from a coach because he hasn't been there.
Yeah.
Coaches can teach you a lot, but when somebody has been there, been in your shoes, like for us, if somebody has done media versus just seeing how we operate, I think it's very different as far as like the things they would tell you to be great at or help you in your everyday in that position.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it seems really cool, like the fact that you have somebody like that coming in and teaching everybody, because I think that's been part of what's been missing since Vaughn left. Because I remember seeing Vaughn during training camp practices. He's going around. He's like doing all these things I don't understand. It's like, wow, that guy's going to be pretty good after getting all this from Vaughn. But, I mean, the last couple of years, like you got Randy out there, but that's not Vaughn Miller. Not yet. Like that's not quite Jared Allen. So I love seeing it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if these guest coaches are really into it and are going to commit to it. And it really does seem like Jared Allen is big time into it. I mean, he's one of the last coaches off the field. Every day we talk about, players who are the last ones off the field and how that's important. So Jared Allen does seem like he's into it. And Sean, when he talked to us about it, he said it's a good experience for us to see what type of coach he is. It's also a good experience for him to see if he wants to coach.
For sure.
Because he said you dip the toe in the water and just see if it's the right temperature, or if you're like, nope, this thing's crazy, I'm not doing this, get out. Especially a guy who has plenty of money,
Yes.
who doesn't need to do this. And then the other guy that was at practice, Drew Brees.
That was interesting. Because at first I was like, well, wait, why the hell is Drew Brees here? And it's like, oh, yeah, Sean Payton, of course. And we found out after practice, Drew's brother lives pretty close to the practice facility.
Okay.
So he was just kind of like around and wanted to come see what was up because he knows so many people like Sean and some other holdovers from the staff. But the most interesting thing that came from that was when Sean said...
Really quick, before you get to that,
Yes.
Sean... Not that media members were trying to make this a big thing, like, oh my gosh, is Drew Brees here to become the Broncos quarterback? But like, okay, is he here to, just be friendly? Or is he here to maybe join the coaching staff in a guest role type way? Something like that. And so when Sean talked about it at first, when he was asked about it after practice, he downplayed it as much as possible. I mean, pretty much was like, oh, you guys are asking me about that? His brother just lives here. I mean, that's the only reason he's here. But then Henry picked up on this too.
He was like, it's good for him to meet the Penners, though. Which is like,
Why is it good? Why is it good for him to meet ownership?
Yeah, I don't know. Because I wonder, like, if you're Drew Brees and you want to stay connected to the game, obviously you can go like the TV route. But in terms of being like inside of football, like you probably want something in the front office, right? That's probably the path, not position coaching. He wouldn't probably coordinate. So I don't know. We can speculate, I guess, what his role could be. But if there's a relationship there, then it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, they downplay with his brother living in Denver, but he is tied to Denver in a lot of different ways. I know his brother lives here, but he also has invested heavily in Cherry Creek and the Cherry Creek area. So he has done developments there and has for years. So it's not – I don't think he's new to Denver or doesn't know about Denver. So I'm not speculating, but there could be a way for him to get more involved fairly easy.
And just why is it important to meet ownership if you're just a former player of a team that wasn't this team?
There would be no reason to.
Yeah. I found that interesting too.
Yeah. And it's
We will
probably
see.
nothing, and we'll never hear anything about Drew Brees and the Penners ever again. But it would be kind of fun if something comes of this.
Well, you talk about investing and how he has some investments in Cherry Creek or has been investing in the area. There was another Hall of Fame quarterback who the Broncos fans really wanted to invest in the Broncos ownership, and that's Peyton Manning.
Yes.
Well, Sean Payton is now inside the building. He's really close to Drew Brees, so maybe there's an opportunity there to get a little bit of the team or something like that. I don't know. I mean, we're obviously speculating, but I did find that part very interesting.
I think that would be cool. Are there any former players that have ownership stakes in NFL teams?
I don't think so.
If a
question.
race car driver can, I mean,
Exactly,
we definitely
exactly.
should have some
Like,
stake in some team.
Doesn't Magic Johnson have a piece of the Commanders now?
Yes, yes. But still, that's not a football player.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, did you guys see, speaking of the Commanders ownership,
Oh, yeah.
did you see the Commanders owner in the Monday Night Football booth last night?
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, here, you need to pull this up. We need to watch it.
Let's see.
And it might take you a minute to find it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Just think of maybe one of the most uncomfortable things you've ever seen or at least seen recently. I mean, my skin's still crawling just thinking about it. But Henry, when Yahir's pulling that up, who else was at practice today?
Wait, Mike
mentioned them.
McGlinchey
Boom, there
and
we
Justin
go,
Simmons back
there
to
we
that.
go. The most important
And
people.
we should say Brandon Johnson too.
Yep.
That's also pretty important for
What about
this
Tyler
season
Beatty?
now.
Back of the roster, Hank, you should have had number one.
If that's also important, we'll just say it's important to move on. He's fun.
Okay, let's play this video. This was a in-game interview between the Monday Night Football crew and the new Commanders owner, Josh Harris, who was actually involved or potentially bidding for the Broncos as well. Watch this.
It's preseason, but we still like to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no
injuries,
stranger.
but-
You're no stranger to professional sports teams, managing general partner of the Devils, of the Sixers.
Win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no
injuries,
stranger.
but-
You're no stranger to professional sports teams, managing general partner of the Devils, of the Sixers.
It's preseason, but we still like to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no
injuries,
stranger.
but-
You're no stranger to professional sports teams, managing general partner of the Devils, of the Sixers.
To see if they're actually showing it on the broadcast. If they're talking, like that looks like something I should do. Like the fact that it's a billionaire owner who just did something that uncomfortable. I don't know. It makes me feel a bit better about myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It makes it feel more human.
Like that
And
should be me who's out there doing something dumb like that.
the more you watch it, though, Joe Buck, I mean, it's like a handshake formation, and it's like in front of him. So at first I'm like, oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. I'm like, well, actually, I kind of understand his thought process for
Exactly.
going for the handshake.
And he held it there for a while, like long enough for him to look down and be like, okay.
And then the next after that happens, he obviously pulls his hand back, and the Commanders owner puts his hands immediately on his hips. But then next time that Joe Buck talks, he uses both of his hands to be like, we're not doing a handshake this time.
Commanders
That's
are here
hilarious.
week 2, right?
Yep.
There's a small chance that we run into Josh Harris at some point, just like underneath the stadium or something. Make a bet if either one of us can get a handshake from him.
Just throw it out there. You just gotta leave it out there.
Yep, just get Josh Harris.
Oh my gosh.
Handshake.
You know he's willing to jump on it.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
If he walks by, like just kind of like extends his arm a little bit, just like reach in and grab it.
Thought you were into this, man. But McGlinchey, Simmons back. This is actually huge because they were expecting to be back before week 1. With injuries, you never really know. And Todd, actually, you were the first one to say, like, yeah, Justin's going to be back. It's a groin. Typically those things, you know the timeline on them, and he should be fine. You were spot on. But I think a big thing on top of them being back today is it's not just that they're back for week 1. They're back 3 weeks before week 1.
Yep.
So any bugs that they should have that they need to work out, specifically McGlinchey, that he should be able to gel with the offensive line. Like, they should be pretty much 100% ready to go physically and mentally come week 1.
Yeah, and the biggest key to getting back to, where you were before you got injured is your conditioning. And it's hard to replicate, even when you're in the training room, even when you're going through conditioning drills. It's hard to replicate football conditioning without doing it. So them having 3 weeks, I think, will be, the perfect amount of time to really get back in the swing of things and feel like, they never took any time off. They may be actually a little bit more well-rested, too. Sometimes when you recover in one area, your whole body actually gets to recover. So I look for Justin to be healthy. And if he can start the regular season like he started training camp, he's going to have a phenomenal year.
My goodness.
Be incredible.
Bad news for us that he's back?
Oh, I was thinking about McGlinchey being back. No, it's for practice. Yeah. So I was like, wow, Zach, that's harsh. Like, no, it's not. Like, he's still the best tackle.
Your mind went there. Jeez, that's harsh, Henry.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, Simmons, it's a good test. Like, sometimes it's good for practice to go on easy mode just for a bit. Get your feet under you, get hot. But that is just good competition, and you want to go up against good competition. So it's definitely a good thing. And with McGlinchey, that's a good thing too. That offensive line is going to be fine. I still think that offensive line is going to be fine. Okay. I think the run blocking this week was really good. Like, it was rough that first play, but then they kind of found their groove. The pass blocking was really good, except for Ben Powers, who hopefully that gets fixed. But if he figures that out and McGlinchey can get a couple things going, it's good to get them back in gelling, but I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. And you see what Sean did. Like, when your offense is struggling, the first thing you do is you screen. Yes. You get those guys, you slow down the pass rush, and then you get those guys out and running. And he ran a ton of screens in that second game. So I think that'll help, because now you can't rush upfield. You can't be so adamant about getting to the quarterback. You have to slow play things. Now that just gives them a little bit more time, Russ a little bit more time. So, people don't realize how much plays set up other plays within the NFL. Sometimes coaches will run a play in the beginning of the game just to set up play 43. And so I think that his screen game is really going to help set up their passing game and really slow guys down.
Yeah. And it isn't just screens to the running backs either. So you can't really just key in on, hey, be paying attention, this guy might leak out. They're running all those screens to the tight ends too. Yep. And so that just opens things up. I guess we didn't see as many to the receivers this week. I saw Jordan Humphrey got one. But when you're throwing those short things all over the place, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we're going to get a good look at how important McGlinchey is if Justin Simmons can make Matthew Stafford's day a nightmare the next 2 days as the Rams come to town to joint practice. Let's talk about who are the 5 most likely Broncos to fight in joint practice, because there is a lot of juice there. After I tell you about our friends over at Breckenridge Distillery, where they've got the Breckenridge Bourbon Battle of the Bourbons. It's Ed McCaffrey's blend going up against Alfred Williams' blend. Speaking of Broncos alumni, 2 very popular ones there. If you go to a store and get Breckenridge Brewery, they're going to have an Ed McCaffrey blend and an Alfred Williams blend. These guys created these, and then you try them both, and then you go to BreckenridgeDistillery.com. There's a page for Battle of the Bourbons, which you click on, you vote on, and not only do you get to taste 2 good whiskeys or bourbons, but then you can win 2 tickets to the Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey Suite for the Broncos-Chargers game on New Year's Eve. And post your favorite Broncos photo to Instagram and Facebook using hashtag BroncosBourbon to get in that entry. So make sure to check out Breckenridge Bourbon. They've also got the Reiki drinks, which are delicious. So check them out. You can get in all 50 states. BreckenridgeDistillery.com.
Yep, and check out our friends over at Bet365 with over 80 million users worldwide and 780,000 events each year. They're a proud partner of the Rockies, and you get a better price on chosen markets for select games with Bet365's Boost or Bet365 Super Boost. So sign up now at using code DNVR365 and start to put in some bets, man. I think I'm going to take advantage of this myself. I'm not a big bettor, but I want to start to be. I think we got some inside information here between us. So let's see how I can do, man. I won't get in trouble anymore from the NFL. So I don't have to worry about that. But check them out at bet365.com.
I was recently asked by someone, like, are you going to get busted by the NFL for betting? I was like, no, I'm not an NFL employee.
Exactly.
But first I was like, oh, God, I hope not. But no, we can bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is because there used to be a stigma for us, too.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be like, yeah, you can't be a reporter and also bet. But now it's like everybody bets.
Yeah.
It's just what people do.
If you want to be paid, yeah, you're with betting
Exactly.
partners. Just like the NFL.
Yep.
The NFL is in bed with all of these betting companies. Okay, let's get to our Bet365 top 5. And I couldn't believe how much fighting was the topic of conversation. Todd, how many joint practices were you a part of?
Probably had maybe 4 or 5 years. I think we had the Bears, 49ers. I definitely had a couple of them. And there was a fight every year, hands down. A few.
And have you seen what's going on? I probably really started last year with the Rams, with just the fights escalating around the league. Last year, we saw Aaron Donald. Did he have 2 helmets?
Yeah.
And he was swinging 2 helmets on the field. I mean, that's dangerous right there. You don't want to see anything like that. But this year, there's been fights all the time. Did you see the one, was it this morning, that involved an Eagles player punching Anthony Richardson to try to get the ball out, is how it read. You mess with the quarterback, Todd, what's going to happen on a football field? If someone punches the quarterback.
There better be a big problem for the O-lineman. The O-lineman better turn around and just start body slamming people. And if you don't, then we have a problem. So, yeah, you touch the quarterback, that's a no-go for sure. Yeah,
as Garrett Bowles says, a quarterback's like my wife. And so if you touch the quarterback, it's like touching my wife. Don't do that. And so there's actually this week, was it the Texans canceled joint practices upcoming week because of how many fights there have been in joint practices. So joint practices is a thing that coaches love to do, but now it's kind of getting a little iffy. Sean Payton's confident that there's going to be no fights this week. But we talked to Quinn Miners after practice, the belly on the screen right now, and Josie Jewell. Henry, I think the players might have a little different idea.
Yeah, because they were asked, like, both of them 3 different ways. Like, so how do you stop the fighting? Like, how much did the coaches talking about not fighting? And they never really said anything about not fighting. No. Like, Quinn basically said, like, as offensive linemen, somebody starts something, it's our job to end it. It's like, that's it. And it's like, how do you avoid the fights? Well, our job is just to end the fights if there are fights. And it's like, the fact that that's kind of the mentality, first of all, I love it. Like, it's a lot of fun. But then Josie was also saying similar things because what he basically said, he said it's not up to us. Yeah, like it's up to them.
Yeah, essentially he said, like, we won't start it, but
we're gonna finish it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And it feels like that's where those come from. And Todd, you would know, but like, just somebody thinks they're just playing hard and somebody else gets pissed off and says that's a cheap shot or something.
Yeah, I think it's guys. Sometimes guys go a little bit too hard. Also, sometimes guys get beat and get frustrated about that. You're definitely going to see a fight in D-line versus O-line one-on-ones. 9-on-7, you're definitely going to see a fight. We didn't used to see a lot between the DBs and wide receivers in one-on-ones. There was a lot of chirping, but no fights.
Is that classic?
Yeah. But when them big boys get together, I mean, everybody's pushing, everybody's shoving. And, because I think for a long period of time, you're going up against somebody who's either a young player on the scout team or your other guy where you can kind of say, like, hey, chill out, like, don't do too much. But now you're going up against another guy in practice. He may be pulling your jersey after the ball's thrown. He may be pushing your face mask, and you're not going to like it. So when that happens, you got to catch these hands, as we say. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ever start a fight?
I don't know what you're talking about. Can I plead the fifth?
Yes.
I think I did have a little bit of a problem. I think every year I got in a fight in joint practices, and every year I got in a fight in regular team practices. It's just a lot of emotions, man. Everybody's working hard. Then it's 98 degrees outside. So I don't want anybody touching me as it is. So it's just a lot of energy, a lot of emotions. I think I've had a few fights in my day.
And then on top of that, in training camp, you're going up against the exact same guys for 17 straight practices. So eventually that's going to get on your nerves. And then joint practices, especially the way the Broncos are doing it this year, you have 2 practices. It's not just one.
Yep.
So if something goes on that first day and you're able to blow off the steam, and then it happens again the second day, you're not blowing that off.
No.
You're going at it.
No, and I don't think the steam ever blows off. It just, we go our separate ways, and it just boils in that locker room. And guys talk about, if he does that again, you better be ready. Like, it's definitely just boiling into the next day.
But then, like, this one even starts, the Christmas Day game, Broncos get their shit kicked in, to put it softly, honestly. Like, there has to be some talk happening on that field at the time.
Yep.
Now you circle back around. That's got to change like the baseline a little bit.
It's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. Especially most of these guys were here. And as, who was it? Randy Gregory admitted after that game that we knew that we just got Nathaniel Hackett fired.
Yeah.
The way that game went down. And Randy Gregory punched someone after that game.
Sure did.
He did.
I don't know who it was or if he's still on the team, but like there's already been a fight between these two teams.
You guys should have said that at the podium. Like, does last year's ass whooping play into the role of this year?
I almost like brought that up, where it's like, is it, when everybody's asking all those questions, like, does the fact that happened, like, is that on your mind at all? I was like, let's just not bring up old
You should have asked Josie that, because he was already pissed at you when he got on the podium, and then you brought up that. Yeah, that would have been bad.
Or just said, like, that's a D- question. You're like, okay.
Probably just an F.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
He was pretty blunt.
So, who are the 5 most likely players on the Broncos to fight? Brought to you by Bet365.
You said yesterday. Garrett.
Yeah.
Garrett number 1. Like,
Garrett's
he's
number 1.
I feel like he might be number 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's number 1?
The point you just brought up, plus he's a fiery individual. I think Randy Gregory. He's already
he was
thrown a
definitely
punch
on the list.
against him. I think he's ready. Like, I think if anybody steps to him the wrong way, he's ready.
You're spot on, because I also think of last year, not just the game against the Rams, but last year's joint practice. He was the most fiery person out there, and there were fights left and right, especially on the Broncos defensive field. The Broncos defense going up against the Cowboys offense was so much more entertaining than the other field, where it's Broncos offense, Cowboys defense.
Nick Benito had like 3 sacks. Like, the entire defense was just incredible that day.
Guys, the Broncos were going at it. There were probably 5-7 fights on that field. Other side of the field, I don't think there were any fights. In fact, before practice even started, Russell Wilson went around and shook the hand of every single Cowboys defender.
Oh, heck no.
And so that was the vibe on that field. It was like, we're friends, kumbaya. And then on the other field, it was just all out chaos.
At one point, Mike Purcell took somebody's helmet and just like bowled it 30 yards. Because I was like taking notes. I was like, I'm writing about this. And I like count. I was like, yep, 30 yards. He just bowled that helmet 30 yards downfield.
Yeah, he's another fire one. He's a dog, man. I think that's not something you can turn off. Like, you just have that kind of energy, that mentality he plays with on Sundays. It's just a part of him, man. So they better be ready.
Yeah, they better be ready. And Yahir better be ready, because he's slacking already. So number 1, we're going Randy Gregory.
He has an excuse, though, so it's fine. Oh, okay.
I thought Todd Davis made it pretty clear.
Randy 1, Garrett 2.
Yep.
Who else is on the list? Quinn is on the list to me. Josie, the way he was talking today, I think I have to put him on the list.
The name that just keeps popping up is Kareem.
But I think Kareem. Kareem is. I don't think he would have fought. I think years ago.
2 wise now.
Yeah. I think he's going to say a lot and get people to fight, but I don't think he'll actually have to fight himself.
I like that. Okay, so 3, I think the other guys you mentioned are definitely there.
Yeah.
Quinn, just the way that he was very open to it. And he was kind of acting like, if someone messes with one of my guys, I'm not going to just stand there.
It's a responsibility.
So, he's there. Yep.
Yeah. I think... Ooh, I have a dark horse.
Who?
Elijah Garcia has gotten in a couple pushing fights. He also has played well, so there's a chance that he gets like a sack or 2 and somebody gets mad and things heat up. That's kind of a dark horse one, though. I think we can do better.
Do you think that would be a bad thing for a guy, a borderline roster guy, to get in a fight if he's like the one that starts it? Or do coaches not really care in the end?
I think coaches care. I think it's not a problem if it is not longer than like 2 minutes. Like if you have an instance, you fight it out or whatever, and then you let it go, I think that's okay. But if you continue like to go back after the coach already pulled you away, you run on the field, try to find a guy, then it's like a character problem more so than just like a heated, moment in practice.
And then you're like, how are you going to act in a game? And are you actually going to get us multiple penalties from this? And we just can't have that.
Because they like the passion, but you got to be able to control it to a certain extent.
And that's just why I think that what's Sean going to say when he gets on the podium? Yeah, I'm encouraging the guys to fight. He's not going to say that, but I don't think Sean will be upset if there's the right type of fighting. And he understands. He knows the temperature that's going around the league. He knows that there's fights at every single joint practice. So I think tonight he'll tell him, let's keep our cool. But you know what I think he'd hate more than guys fighting? I think he would hate if Russell Wilson got punched and the offensive lineman just stood there.
For sure.
No, Sean told us not to fight. He would hate that, not being there for your guys.
I mean, the fighters are going to be in the trenches. Like, I think that's where you got to go. So, I mean, Lloyd doesn't really strike me as a fighter.
No.
Powers, I don't really know. McGlinchey doesn't strike me as a fighter.
What about like Zach Allen or DJ Jones?
What about Jared Allen, just like from the coaching sideline? He just runs around and like...
that would not be advisable.
I would be surprised. Zach Allen's interesting. He shoved somebody, right? During training camp? I don't have my notebook. I think at some point he did.
I don't remember. What about a fullback? Is a fullback
for sure.
someone that's just in there? So
for
Michael
sure.
Burton?
Yeah.
So we'll put him at 4.
Yep.
Who else did you mention, Hank? Whoever else you meant? Yeah.
Josie's got to be in there.
Linebackers?
The thing is, I don't know that I've ever seen him actually fight.
No.
That's the thing.
Somebody would have to start it. He would never back down, but I think somebody would have to start it.
I agree.
What about Drew Sanders? Because he's already got in trouble with his own team.
Oh, that's a dark horse.
Maybe like he fights somebody else.
Those are the guys that get in fights for sure. The guys that are like aggressive tacklers or hitting after the play. They'll definitely find a fight.
Frank Clark, he's one to throw in there. Ryan Sloan said that. But I mean, Drew Sanders, especially, he's one to start it unintentionally because he has thrown 2 Broncos to the ground by like the neck.
Yep.
If you do that, especially like a smaller running back, you throw him to the ground. I hope my teammates would have my back right there and go and get in his face. So I don't think he's gonna start it by throwing a fist.
No.
But I think he could start it by doing that.
Yeah.
But a rookie, you got to be smarter, I think.
Yeah. Well, Frank Clark is really a good suggestion.
Yeah.
He may be mad he was playing to the fourth quarter last week. He may have some energy to let out. So, I'm not mad at putting him at 5 either.
Man, I think that's where Frank goes.
Okay.
I think Frank's at 5. Yep, so there's the list. Most likely to fight at training camp. What else are we looking at? This.
I have one more fighting question for Todd. So like in hockey, there's like the guys who are like the goons who know how to fight, and like they'll like pass it on and be like, this is what you do, like rather. In terms of fights in football, it's do you have like any tips that you would give for like how to handle
like how to handle a fight? It's tough because
you're not trying to like actually hurt them, because that's how you get in trouble, right?
Yeah, I mean, fighting in football is kind of pointless because you got all the gear on and stuff. I'm not encouraging anybody to fight, but I think it's pointless unless you can get the helmet off.
Right.
Like if you can get the helmet off, then you got some action. But until then, like there's nothing. The only damage you can do is to yourself. You punch that face mask, that's your own hand. There's nothing that really can happen.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you keep your helmet on. You should be pretty darn good.
You'll be fine.
Man, I just watched a highlight of the Michael Crabtree fight. Oh,
so
man,
good.
that broke out on the sidelines. So good. Crabtree, speaking of, punched Aqib's helmet.
Yep.
It's like, that's not going to do anything.
Doesn't do anything.
Especially as a receiver.
Yes, he needs hands more than anything else. So the headline of this pod is, do the Broncos need to dominate the Rams in joint practices? And I'm talking about the starters, the ones-on-ones. And I think we're going to disagree on this. Todd, do the Broncos need to dominate the Rams on both sides of the ball or either side of the ball, or do they not have to dominate because it's just practice?
No, I think it matters, especially in a joint practice, because when you're going up against different competition, 2, I think it's a confidence booster if you can succeed in a joint practice. And I think the Broncos need to do that. I think the defense is confident in themselves, but I think the offense could still use the confidence boost that comes with, dominating another team. So I think they need to be dominant. I think it's important to win those joint practices, because I know when we had them, that was like an important slogan that we had, like win the day. Like you have to go out there and beat these guys. You can't go back to the film room and then look at how they dominated you on every play. That's like demoralizing. Yeah. And especially with them, they're coming to our house. Like you have to make a statement, So I think it's important.
And I think it's important as well. So Todd and I agree. We're going to gang up on Henry here. But another reason that I think it's important, I think the offense specifically needs to dominate this Rams defense, because this Rams defense is garbage. It is awful. Can you name a player not named Aaron Donald on that defense?
No, Bobby Wagner. I could have said Bobby, but he left.
I just looked up their depth chart, and I still can't name any.
Exactly. And as Tyreek Hill does, I guess, he just looks at Madden ratings to evaluate his competition. If you look at Madden ratings, the Rams have the worst defense in Madden with Aaron Donald.
Dang.
Aaron Donald is not going to be here this week because he and his wife are expecting the birth of one of their children. So he's not going to be here. Yep. So you take one of the best players, if not the best defensive player, off that defense, they are so bad.
Yeah.
So this offensive line does need to have 2 really good practices. They do need to dominate. They should be dominating through the air, through the ground. And if not, if it's like a turnstile at right tackle and left tackle that it's been, oh no, that's going to be really bad news.
Yeah, at the same time, though, it's just practice. Like what happened last year, they kicked the Cowboys' ass, like up and down the field. Like even the Cowboys writers were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this is what just happened out here. Like what? And then we get to the season, it turns out that winning a practice didn't matter all that much. Like it in terms of comparing it to other training camp practices, like it's more important, but do they need to go out there and dominate? Like it's practice. We're still a few weeks from the season. It's
I
not
don't
the end of the
know.
world.
I gotta disagree with that. I think it usually would have done well for them to dominate. I think last year, we got to throw that away. I hate using that as a measuring tape because it's just so many things are wrong that didn't have anything to do with players or personnel, and I feel like that's hard to measure the year off of. But if you go off of that, I understand your point.
Yeah, and Henry, I just think you're smoking a little kind love when you say that it doesn't matter. And so you got to check that out for a lot of kind love. Yeah, in fact, you're hitting that turbo core boost because I think you're crazy, and the turbo core will definitely hit hard. And if you want to check out the turbo core or any products that Kind Love has, use the code DNVR when you visit one of their stores in Cherry Creek or North Denver, and you're going to get 25% off all Kind Love flour, pre-rolls, and turbo joint line. Check them out on their website too, kindlove.com. They have their products in over 100 stores in Colorado, but if you want to go to one of their stores, check out Cherry Creek or North Denver and mention that code DNVR for the DNVR exclusive discount of 25% off.
And if Alex really is mad, decides he wants to run me down with his car.
Wow.
Baxton Shaker. 222-2222. Baxton Shaker's awesome. I'll be fine. I don't think anybody's run me down with my car or with their car. But I have talked to AJ about this, who's the Avs writer. It's like, I wrote all the game grades for Avs games, and they always just printed out every story that was written about everybody and passed around the locker room for the Avs. And so, you just go in there the next day, and half the team's just pissed at you, and just the world you live in. So 67 different grades. So the odds of one of them trying to come after me, break my leg or something, I don't know. I guess
just Tanya Harding you.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I gotta talk to you after this. I gotta talk to you after the podcast. But
You better hope Broncos go 17-0. Then there's no bad grades.
Yeah, no fumbles, no holding penalties, nothing. But yeah, so Baxton Shanker 2222222. I saw their ad on the back of a bus again. I've seen like 3 of those in the last week, which is, I don't know, every time I'm like, Baxton Shanker 222. Great company. They've won over $1 billion for Coloradans. They've got offices all over the state. So if you are in any sort of accident, you're injured, it's not your fault. Even if you're like just falling downstairs at work or something, call 222 and you'll get a free consultation. No fee until they win.
Huge. And do the Broncos need to have a huge day on off defense going up against the Rams offense? Because there's no doubt that the Rams offense is much better than their defense. But like, who are the Rams on offense? How good are they? Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp.
That's the thing.
They have big time talent, but how good are they really? Like, shouldn't this defense have a lot of success against them?
I think so. I think they're a bottom of the barrel offense overall. I don't think they're going to be a top 10 offense, so I think that the defense should have a good day. And we have a proven top-ranked defense. This is not somebody that is trying to make a name for themselves. They've already done it, and they're just continuing on that path. So I see them dominating in this joint practice, so why not?
Pat Surtain versus Cooper Kupp is going to be must watch. Like that's the one thing that I'm most excited about by a mile.
That's light work.
You think so?
Eastern Washington?
Oh, that's it. Another big stat. That's true. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. He did some bad things to Montana.
Think about that. Eastern Washington going up against Alabama.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a competition there.
It shouldn't be. But I don't know. I'm curious. I want to see what happens because like Cooper with those routes, like the way he just gets in and out of breaks, Pat's going to be on top or have to be on top of his stuff. And so much of what he does comes from film work and studying. He's just so smart. He's always a step ahead. I wonder how much like Cooper Kupp tape he's watched to get ready for a practice, you know? So this might be a pretty raw, just one-on-one. Anything could happen, I think.
We're 18 months removed from Cooper Kupp having one of the best receiver seasons of all time. A triple crown. Led the league in passing or receiving yards, receptions, and receiving touchdowns. But then he's just like falling off the face of the earth because I know he was hurt last year when the Broncos played and they didn't have him, right?
Yep.
And you just wonder if he's broken, kind of like older and broken. Matthew Stafford just feels older and broken. And I mean, they don't have any running backs that excite you. Their offensive line it isn't very good. So I agree, Todd. I mean, this is a good Broncos defense. They really should dominate, especially the fact that Baker Mayfield dominated them last year. That should piss him off a little. I mean, their backup quarterback. In fact, he was their third-string guy.
He was looking like a superstar that
Yes,
game.
he was.
He was balling.
He looked like the number 1 overall pick that he was.
Sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Who was just named the starter for the Bucs today, which is wild. That number 1 overall pick is now on like, what, his 4th team in 4 years or something. But yeah, I think we should be sitting here tomorrow and Thursday talking about how the Broncos on both sides of the ball really dominated the Rams.
Yep, I agree.
I hope so.
Yeah, you're not as confident.
I'm not. I mean, we'll see.
If they don't, Henry, should the Broncos trade for Jonathan Taylor?
Oh boy. I thought you were gonna do but first we gotta.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Probably not. No.
Is there anything you'd be willing to give up?
The tough part's the contract. Because you look at Christian McCaffrey, 4 years, $16 million a year. That's the top of the market.
When was that signed?
A couple years ago.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so then you've got Jonathan Taylor, who will have $4 million this year. So it comes down a little bit, but it winds up being $68 million over 5 years for running back, and that scares me way more than the pick. Compared to a second-round pick, I think the money is actually what is more concerning. I just think investing that much when you already have Javonte, you already have Samaje, it's probably a bad idea.
Todd, what do you think?
I have to agree with you on that one. I don't think it's worth it, and I think you have to give up. You have to give up a good amount to get them, and you may trade away both running backs because then you don't need them at that point. So, there's no way that they would be able to keep Javonte and Samaje and Jonathan Taylor. It just wouldn't make sense.
No.
So I think we would give up too much to get them. So I don't necessarily think they need them.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make sense. If this team, let's say Javonte was still on IR and he wasn't close to being back, and it was the time frame that we thought for most of the offseason, then it's like, go get Jonathan Taylor, because also you don't know if Javonte's ever going to be who he was, and then you have your running back for the next 5 years. You hope he stays healthy, because that's kind of the thing with running backs. When you pay them, you just cross your fingers, hope they stay healthy. Just doesn't make too much sense here, because you're right. Samaje would definitely be gone, I have to imagine. It's that's a Madden type of move. It's just like acquire those guys, but in reality, probably not. You don't trade for him. But I think there's someone else that has a lot more intrigue of maybe not intrigue, but potential. And that's Saints kicker Will Lutz, who there was some interesting things yesterday. At first, at the beginning of the day, the Saints have a kicker competition between an undrafted guy and Will Lutz, who's been there since 2016. He joined the Saints with Sean Payton in 2016, and he's been their kicker ever since. There was a report in the morning that the Saints were going to keep Will Lutz and move on from the other kicker. And then reports came out, no, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're gauging interest. If a team wants to trade for either of these guys. And then Peter King and Jeff Duncan, who Jeff Duncan is as tied into the Saints as anyone, came out and kind of were putting buzz out there that the Broncos might be interested in trading for Will Lutz. The connection, obvious. He was Sean Payton's kicker for over half a decade. Do you think that's something the Broncos should do? Or after what Sean Payton called an outstanding kicking performance this week, they're fine with Brett?
I'm not afraid of competition. I think we have time to do one more competition before we would have to really let somebody go. I think you bring him in here, you let him compete with Brett Maher, and you see where it goes. Why not? I mean, I don't know what we have to give up.
Seventh
Probably,
round pick.
Yeah, something
Sixth,
very
seventh,
minimal.
yeah.
So I don't see why not. Because in the AFC West and in the NFL, games are too close not to have a pretty decent kicker. I mean, you're going to need him for, 17 to 20 game against the Chiefs where you need this to go into overtime. Like, you're going to need a good kicker. So it's important. It's not anything just to like shoo away like we don't need him or we're okay with Brett. I think we have to look at all the options.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably a good move. Like Maher, you can't trust him. Like, you can't trust a guy who missed 5 of 6 extra points. And
what was his grade the first week?
That's true. I think I gave him I think it might have just been an F.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to be nervous all season if Brett Maher's the kicker. Even if he's playing great, I'm just going to be nervous about it. And with Will Lutz, I don't know that he's actually that much better of a kicker, but I would feel more comfortable. And if I was in charge, like a 7th round pick, sure, why not? Let's just settle this and move on.
Yeah, and I think you let him compete. I mean,
true. Yeah.
If Maher beats him out, then okay, he's the better kicker, and we're rocking with him the whole season. But if he loses the competition, then we got to move on and figure out what's best for the team. But I think bringing him in here to compete is not a bad idea.
And Todd, I'm right there with you. I think kicker is going to be such an important position for the Broncos this year, because especially I think they're going to be right around a 500 team.
Yep.
If you're a 500 team, that means a lot of games are coming down to the wire. And the Broncos were awful in one-score games last year.
Yep.
They landed at 5-12. If they were really good, they would have been the Vikings at like 12-5.
Yep.
And the kicker was so important in those games for both of those teams. But I think you bring up a really good point that trading for Will Lutz, you're not just giving him the job, because Henry brings it up. You don't really know what you're getting with Will Lutz. Will Lutz was really good the first 4 years of his NFL career. Rookie year, 82% field goal. That's okay. That's good. Next year, 86. His third year, 93%. That's when Sean Payton was there. Then 89%. So Sean remembers him in really good light. Then the next year, in 2020, Sean's last year, 82%. That's a pretty big fall off. 2021, he doesn't play the entire year due to injury. So then he comes back last year, 74% field goal percentage. Worse than Brandon McManus, the guy that you just cut, who you had on your team. So Will Lutz has been a good kicker. Yeah. Brandon McManus has been a good kicker, but they both had down years last year. The Broncos decided to move on from Brandon because of his bad year last year and because maybe the money, because of other things that were there. Clearly, I think if they're trading for Will Lutz, Sean likes the makeup of Will, but to me, he's not just getting this job, especially when last year, Brett Maher, 90% field goal kicker throughout the season until the debacle in the playoffs.
That's funny. Even after Sean left, he had a down year. How good of a coach do you have to be to even make your kicker better? He's making everybody
Such a good
better.
point.
When did Westhoff leave? He was before that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Was Westhoff there in New Orleans when you were there?
Ooh, I don't
don't think so.
Coordinator, right?
I think he was in his first retirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, how many retirements has he had?
He's had 2. But that means when he retires again, it'll be his 3rd retirement.
Wow. Does that just mean he's truly never retiring?
I mean, it's possible. The guy likes football. He's just always around. Every time I see him, it just makes me smile. It's like, wow, that is a football man.
Actually, Todd was a Saint before Westhoff was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a Saint. Westhoff was there in 17, 18.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, yeah, because that's when Sean brought him out of retirement the first time.
First time.
Yeah. And then he brought him out of retirement the second time.
That retirement thing is funny, man. I think guys say they're retiring just so they can go to Puerto Rico or something, get their body healthy. Now they're feeling like they're 25 again. They're like, all right, I'll give it another shot and roll.
Did you classify yourself as actually retiring when you left the NFL?
You know, I didn't because I didn't make it like a big public statement because there was so much of a chance of me coming back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I didn't do like the thank the fans for all that and all that because I really thought at some point I was going to come back, and had everything worked out with the Broncos, I probably would have. So I never did that. It took me a long time to file the paperwork to actually say like I'm retired, I'm out the game.
You want to put a statement out today or something? Full written
Yeah, why
statement?
not? You know, thank you to all of Broncos Country for all your love and support. You know, I had a great 7 years of my career. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for always supporting me. Continue to support me, you know, in this new endeavor of life. And yeah, I appreciate it. Mile High salute. I'm out.
Oh,
Boom.
that's a good move.
I
Yeah,
love
Mile High
it.
salute.
What a
Officially
great,
retired now. Congrats on your retirement.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
congratulations. What are you gonna do with your life?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I mean, straight from the heart too, because you got no time to prep for it. I love it. There you go. Todd Davis officially retired from the NFL. We love it. And we also love our friends over at Saturday Neon, where you can get the coolest signs over at Saturday Neon, whether it's for your man or woman cave, whether it's for your office, whether it's for your living room potentially, anywhere that you can have a neon sign, this is the one that you want because they are Denver-based company. They started by 2 friends that went to CU, so of course they've got a lot of CU gear going on there. You can also get CSU signs. They did go to Fort Collins to give the CSU fans theirs. And they also have over 20 schools that you can get licensed products from. So go to SaturdayNeon.com and use the code DNVR for 10% off your order today. You get free shipping on over $200. These signs are the best in the business. So if you want it for yourself, if you want it for someone else, go to SaturdayNeon.com and use that code DNVR.
Yes, sir. And then check out Illegal Pete's. I love doing this ad because I actually do visit Illegal Pete's on a regular basis. You know, they have happy hour from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day until 12 at all locations. I go to the one in DTC. So if you want to, you know, catch me on a weekday, you know, just hang out there. And I definitely will pull up and slide through. But they have a lot of great food, burritos, bowls, tacos, crafted with responsibility sourced and high quality ingredients. I mean, you can't beat that. They go above and beyond in their preparation. So I love Illegal Pete's. Go check them out to get some great food.
Yes, you got to check them out. We love Illegal Pete's, and we love the comments. Should we hop into the comment section, talk to the people? But before we do, the commenters don't love us today.
Oh, no.
Viewers don't love us today. Look at those likes.
I saw, oh, okay.
Oh, man.
I saw like literally 3 comments that just said, love you, Todd.
Oh, wow. Maybe turn on your camera, you hear? Maybe that's the issue.
Maybe.
So if you really love Todd, hit a thumbs up on this podcast. Todd, would you like a thumbs up?
I would love a thumbs up.
Yeah, we'll love
Pump
a
us
thumbs
up,
up.
man.
Hit a thumbs up on here. Also, podcast. We're getting close to 1,000 ratings on Spotify and Apple. Hit us with a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. I know a lot of you were leaving comments that we're very appreciative of you yesterday, saying just how much you enjoy all the guests that we're having on, how much you enjoyed Todd being on the show, how much you enjoy Alexis being on, and James Palmer. And if you hit us with a thumbs up, that really shows us the support. So we appreciate that a lot. All right, let's get into Super Chats.
Yes.
First one coming in from But Why says, Damari Mathis would chuck nuts and chuck nuts.
No.
I'm sorry.
That's definitely a fight. That's a fight, right?
Wow.
In a fight, he says that Damari is a hashtag dog.
Yeah.
I mean, he was swinging at his own teammate last week.
Yes, he was.
He and Jaquan were,
Yes.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like they're like same position group. I wonder what happened there because one of them just must have had to have said like, "Why'd you blow that coverage?"
Yeah.
Like, exactly. Like, you suck. Like, why are you starting over me? Like something like that.
Yeah. In fact, someone says, Hank, you suck.
Thanks, Zach.
You want to fight him?
Dang.
No, not me. Florida said that.
No, but you
Oh.
decided to read it.
All of Florida said. All of Florida said that.
That's all of Florida. All the rain in Florida.
Just kidding. Florida Rain says, JK, you are left, Henry.
Oh, good.
Yeah, see, I
Okay.
read that one too.
Maybe Florida.
Yeah. I was gonna tell him to chuck nuts.
Yeah, that would start a fight. You're right,
It's
Todd.
gonna be a new soundbite, just like Chuck.
Bracken, see, this is not fair to me. People making fun of me for not getting these names, not getting these names right. We have Bracken Schweeder coming in and says, "Hey boys, I'm headed to Denver this week for the game and need food recommendations. Any good places for green chili?"
Illegal Pete's.
Yeah,
that is the
you're
place
actually
to go,
right.
especially for green chili, especially if you're going to the game, because if you show them your ticket, you get a free margarita or beer. So
Dang.
it's really just perfect. It's like the perfect walking distance from the stadium, so you can get an Uber instead of waiting outside. Like if you're going to watch sports, Illegal Pete's is the answer.
And you get the green chili. You can get it like on the
yeah.
side where you dip chips in.
You
You
can.
can get it inside the burrito, or you can get your burrito smothered in it. So yeah,
Yeah.
really good rec there, Hank. He says also, if I come to the bar, can I get a picture with Todd? Great pod, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, come through. I'll do pictures. I'll do autographs. I sound like I'm selling myself, but I'm definitely down for it. Yeah, and we want to have a good time. I'm ready to have the first regular season game here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great time, and I have a lot of other teammates that might show up, so you never know what you're going to get if you come through to the bar, so you should check it out.
I love it. I love it. Man, Todd, I can't wait for the regular season either. And we're open for lunch now, starting at 11 a.m., although I'm not sure about tomorrow because we have a company meeting supposedly down there.
True.
So Thursday or after, we're definitely open for lunch. So come by.
Yep.
All right. And last super chat coming in from our friend. Oh, no, that was our last one.
Wow.
Dang, you teased me just leaving it open there. But we do have some comments on the website. And Henry, why don't you tell us how to leave a comment on the website?
Become a diehard. You just sign up. We'll send you an awesome box that has like a shirt, Todd Davis autograph. We still haven't sorted that whole thing out, but that will happen. And like membership card. You get all sorts of discounts at the bar. You get discounts to come to the tailgate, go on trips with us, all of that sort of stuff. Bunch of reasons, but one of them is if you're a diehard, it gives you access to leave comments. So if you leave a comment on the post on the website for this podcast, we'll read it tomorrow. So it's like you click podcast, Broncos, then like the most recent one, just go down the bottom. If you're a diehard, then you can write whatever you want.
And 7 people have done that for this podcast. So
Wow.
let's jump in. The count says, my
count.
folks, let's say that the offensive line ends up performing subpar in pass protection for whatever reason and decent in run blocking. Is there a menu of plays that you could run with Russ that would take that into account and be effective? Seems like his offensive lines in Seattle were often lackluster in pass protection. Can the Broncos still be successful if the big boys don't live up to expectations? Love the count.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that a little bit earlier in the segment. I think the screen game will really help slow down those pass rushers. Put those O-linemen one-on-one with DBs and safeties, which they should win every single time, and just get them out running. I think it's more like run blocking than it is like pass blocking. So definitely a lot of screens, which we already saw Sean doing. And then I think the QB runs will help slow guys down too. You don't want to rush upfield if you have QB draw to look out for on 3rd and 2 or design QB runs. You have to play those differently. So, yeah, I think those would be great.
And get the bootlegs going. That play action.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think the Broncos have the best coach in order to counteract this. If they don't have the best offensive line, Sean Payton's going to be able to dial things up to help them out. Next one from Mile High 808 says, been a minute since I commented, but I might need some shady rays with all these stars on the pod. Hoping I'm able to make it out to a game this year. And since Todd brought up sushi, What's your go-to sushi order? Much love to the 303 from the 808. Go Broncos, go DNVR.
Oh, that's tough. So I like sushi, but I'm not a big like sushimi fan. So I'm not getting like yellowtail on the better rice. So I just like strictly sushi. Maybe like a surf and turf roll or California roll. I think is a classic. Spicy tuna roll. Maybe.
Yeah, there we go.
Those are all good.
Yeah, I'd say the spicy tuna is probably a go-to, or spicy salmon go-to for me. But my wife loves just the raw fish on a plate, so I've been having to dabble in that. It's good, but it's weird, and I still can't get over it.
It's just too weird.
It's weird.
Yeah. When it's all rolled up, it's awesome, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Because
it's just all fish.
Because you're also like, typically you just put this on a grill and cook it before eating it, but I'm going to skip that part now?
Feels wrong.
Yeah, it does. Is that your go-to as well?
Yeah. I mean, just like all that stuff. Like when you get like the fried ones with like the shrimp in it. Honestly, I kind of just like it all. Any of those rolls are good. I don't eat much eel. The eel also kind of freaks me out.
Eel sauce when it's on stuff.
Eel sauce is good.
Is it? Just the fact that it's like sauce from an eel.
I don't think it's I think it goes on an eel. I don't think it's like actual.
The sauce goes on the eel? You're saying it's not from the eel.
I think it's like steak sauce, you know? Like it's not made out of steak.
See, I thought it was from the eel.
I thought it was from the eel.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's not.
And the eel doesn't feel like a creature I should be eating.
Exactly.
No.
They're weird. I don't like those.
Like electric eels?
They definitely are.
Yeah, that's too freaky.
I don't like those.
You hear, what's your sushi order?
I like anything deep fried.
Okay,
Salmon,
the opposite of sushi.
Well, you know, but there's deep fried sushi that's really good.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Delicious. Like I like the salmon with the cream cheese and the jalapenos. That's the one to go. I don't know what it's called because it's called something different everywhere I go.
Yeah. That's a great combo. Anything with cream cheese is good. Next one from our battle, Luke. So blessed to have someone who has actually done the job to ask this question to. Todd, when the Broncos go up against dynamic generational tight ends, what, in your opinion, is the best coverage answer? Do you prefer a man or zone scheme when trying to shut down the likes of Henry's favorite Travis Kelce?
I don't like him. I hate him.
You know, I think it's a mix. I think you mix it up as much as you can so that you're not predictable. Because if they're looking at him first and you can throw a zone in there where the coverage is rolling to him, or you have a man. If you have somebody man, I think you should always have somebody hitting him on the line, whether it's an outside linebacker, Randy Gregory. You know, you slow up your rush, make sure you slow this guy down before our safety takes him one-on-one. So I think you got to be able to mix the coverages. I know that's what we did against Kelce. I think it worked pretty well for the most part. He's always going to get his catches. But, yeah, I think being able to mix it up, change your strategy, do different things to make the ball get out of the quarterback's hands fast so he doesn't have time to look for him, like, deep in a route.
What does Travis Kelce do that gets him so open? Because he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest. And, like, why can't just Greg Dulcich or Adam Troutman do that as well?
You know, it's tough. I think he's shifty. I would say he's really shifty, and he's able just to find the holes in the defense. And then he does a lot during the play, like, to keep himself open. So if, like, Patrick is scrambling, he's running, but he's like pulling your jersey down. He's pulling your face mask. So you're like trying to run with this guy. At the same time, he's doing all these little dirty tricks. But he's just talented. Then it's a flag on me. But yeah, he's just talented. He's able to find holes in the defense just because I think they write up plays specifically for him, and I don't think they do that for a lot of other tight ends. So a lot of the times he is the main focus on this route. So they want him to have the favorable matchup more so than Jerry Jeudy has the favorable matchup. And if Dulcich wins, then we'll find him. We're not going to Dulcich to start the play. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do with Kelce.
Right. Yeah, no, it's really good insight. Hank, anything to add?
It seems like it's always tough to cover him when he starts off blocking and then kind of releases late and has the freedom to just be like, hey, look, there's space over there. I'm just going to go that way now.
It does seem like he's playing backyard football.
It just doesn't seem like a defense should ever lose him, though, or forget about him because he's Travis Kelce. Like, people should be staring at him.
Yeah. But that's sometimes you get caught in a zone where, you know, the outside linebacker doesn't, you know, he wants to rush more. So the one time he has to cover Travis Kelce and he sees him takes 2 steps, oh, he's blocking. Let me block 2. Let me rush now. And then he takes off and nobody's on him. Yeah. But that was really somebody's job, and they're more ready to go rush than they were to really guard Travis Kelce that play.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Next one coming in from Nash Broncos says, okay, Zach, I've given you a hard time about it in the chat a few times, but I must know, are you glad the Broncos didn't trade all their wide receivers away? No one could have predicted this bad of injury luck, except anyone who's been watching the Broncos for the last 7 years.
Wow.
I never said trade all of them away. You got good value. It was wise to trade Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy if you got the right value. And
Would you trade Justin Simmons?
Right now?
Yeah.
For what?
The first round pick.
Let's have this conversation around the trade deadline. Where are the Broncos? Where are the Broncos? If they're good, then no. Because they're good because of Justin Simmons. The Broncos are looking at another bad year. You can get a first for Justin? That'd be tough to pass up on. Do you agree?
I
Do you
wouldn't trade
disagree?
him.
You wouldn't trade him?
No. You're not drafting somebody who's going to be as good as Justin.
Yeah.
Justin's going to be 31
That is true.
after this year.
That is true.
Contract getting bigger.
Yeah. If it's
Something
Justin
to think
Simmons,
about.
like after what we've seen, he's so good. He's a freak. Like
Now-
if he's the best safety, let's just say like who's the best linebacker? Fred Warner maybe?
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't give him up for a first round pick.
He's like 26.
There's that. But I mean, you just don't find players who are that talented. And when you have them, you keep them. I think
Yeah.
they screwed up getting rid of Vaughn too. I think that if you had Vaughn still instead of Benito and Dulcich, those are the picks they got, you'd be pretty happy about that trade-off.
You'd also be paying $25 million for Vaughn,
true.
too.
You would be
with-
paying
with
more.
the contract. And that's why I just think it all depends where this team is. Are they kind of entering a rebuild? Because if they're bad, and then you're thinking about moving on from Russell Wilson, and that's a $40 million dead cap next year, and then $40 million dead cap the year after that, then you probably want to free up some money, and that's the way to do it. But right now, no, I would not trade Justin Simmons.
Yes. Also, somebody in the chat brought it up. Alex isn't actually mad. Alex is fun. He's funny. Don't hate Alex.
Oh, do not hate Alex
Yeah,
Singleton.
I don't think I like organizations that keep players around like long term, like lifetime players, like the Steelers or different organizations. I feel like nobody's there from Super Bowl 50, but guys are still playing in the league from Super Bowl 50. I think we've traded away everybody, and maybe that's why it's hard to keep that winning culture when everybody who has won or knows how to win is gone. So I feel like it's tough to trade Justin away. And I know first rounders work out, but I think I think a lot of first rounders flop. They get a lot of hype, and then the guys that really stick around are like the third rounders, the fourth rounders, the guys who are undrafted. So I'll always take somebody proven over like a possible.
Yep.
What's crazy is when I think of like having a lifetime player, how cool that is. And then I think of Peyton Manning wasn't even a lifetime Colt, which is just like, man, it never happens
Think of how
anymore.
different it is for Colts fans now.
Yeah.
Like they have to watch him be a Bronco.
He feels like he's more than a Bronco than a Colt.
By far. Like he loves Colorado.
Yeah.
And the Colts just screwed that up for that entire fan base.
But that was a very, I think, unique situation.
It was unique.
Like, hey, I'm getting my next fuse together, and I want to come back. And they're like, I don't know.
Andrew Luck is sitting right there in the draft.
And at that time, Andrew Luck was the man. Had Andrew Luck not retired, I feel like they would have won a Super Bowl within that time period. Within the next 3 years. They were like really primed.
He'd still be playing right now, too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they would have been, you put together that team with a Jonathan Taylor. They had a great O-line.
And
they
that
had
defense, those linebackers.
It was all set up for them to win a Super Bowl if he doesn't retire.
Absolutely. They just brought in Phillip Rivers, who sucked. Like he was terrible.
It's the Charger way, baby.
It's the Charger way.
And then they got even worse with Matt Stafford or with Matt Ryan.
They did.
Yeah. And Tom Brady didn't even retire a Patriot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it's
That
because he
was
played
crazy.
like over 2 decades.
It is
but
crazy.
it's wild how that never happened. So it is really special when it does happen. Okay, a couple more comments. Bratwurst Bronco says, been a while since I've commented. Absolutely love you guys, and this pod keeps me going through the brutal offseason and keeps me sane at work. The addition of Todd is high-key amazing. Jimmy Palm Trees popping in is so dope. Alexis Perry with the chef's kiss to the new pod look. And Henry is, well, Henry, so there's that.
Fair enough.
Wow.
Can't argue with that.
You didn't even mention me, so at least you got to mention.
Okay, I'll take it.
Got that out of the way. So 2 questions. 1, any chance y'all link up with Chris Harris and his Let's Ride podcast? Surprised they can use that name, by the way.
That is a sad name now. Maybe they'll ride this year. It's possible.
Let's grind.
Let's grind.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We've never done a podcast collab.
Yeah, like a crossover.
Is that a thing?
That would be cool.
It would be fun.
It would be. It would be. Maybe we'll look into that. I think Todd knows.
I think I know him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Number 2, I don't hear much about Quinn Meinerz from really anyone. I feel like he's our best. Well, then you haven't listened to Henry then.
That's true.
He says, I think he's our best offensive lineman, period. And I came away pretty impressed with how he handled Eric Armstead the other night, especially juxtaposed with what we've seen so far from Powers. Thoughts? As always, love you guys.
Quinn Meinerz had an incredible game, and he's capable of that. The only thing is the pass protection. We've talked about over and over again because he played D3. He literally only played out of a 3-point stance until he got to the Broncos. So he was super raw in pass protection, got beat a bunch. He's gotten beat a bunch in training camp too. Like, I'm a little bit concerned by that. But in terms of run blocking, he's right up there with any guard in the NFL. And I know a lot of people think that that's hyperbole, but I think he's that good. You just can't be making mistakes in pass protection, and we'll see if he got rid of those this year. And I even saw one of the big O-line like analyst guys put together a whole cut-up of what he did against the 49ers I saw yesterday. It's unbelievable. It's every single play he's taking guys out, and that's a huge piece to have, and I think he might be their best lineman.
What grade did he get?
A minus? I can't remember.
Damn.
It might just been an A. It might just been an
Yeah,
A.
he just said how good he was. A minus. Wow.
It might have been an A.
When you're looking that up, I'll read the next one from Bronco Oiler. It says, given that the wealthiest owners in the NFL are with the Broncos, I'd expect them to have top of the line everything, especially with Sean Payton not running the football side of things. Do you think there's been a meaningful improvement as far as the team's resources, medical recovery staff, equipment, nutrition, travel, etc.? I understand it may not happen overnight, but a lot of these things seem that they are all things that can be fixed quickly. I just want to flex on those broke Chargers and Raiders organizations a little bit.
That's hilarious. I know they put $100 million into the stadium.
Yep.
And I think I drive by it and see the new Jumbotron. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
The stadium could have used a little bit of revamp. But really, the Broncos had top-notch everything, even when I was there.
Yeah.
As far as the nutrition and the chefs and the staffs and the travel. I think they did a really good job. So hopefully they continue on that legacy. I think the only thing they can do now is get their own team playing.
Yep.
But besides that, everything
Yep.
was always top-notch. They do a good job over there, and I think they're going to continue to do that.
When you were with the Broncos, do you remember, did you guys always stay at like one specific hotel chain?
Was it Marriott's? Did we stay
Was
at?
it?
I forget the chain. Maybe it was some type of Marriott. I don't think it was actual Marriott, so I think it was just like Marriott's within the chain.
I know that now they're staying top-notch brand. A top-notch brand.
Like where? Like Four Seasons?
Oh, might be a good guess.
Oh, yeah, that's big time. That's big time.
Yeah. So that has, I think, taken a boost because of ownership's paying the bill. But I think the person running that department likes that type of brand.
Yeah.
Also,
Walmart brand? Does Walmart own like a hotel chain?
yeah, probably not the hotels you want to be staying at.
I would guess not.
Yeah. Those would be motels.
Probably motels.
Yeah. Hostels.
I don't think they'd go to hostels.
That would be crazy.
That would be
Like a
nuts.
what is that, like
Everybody
a Super
bunking
8?
it up.
Like a Super 8 type?
Yeah. And in terms of like the nutrition and everything, they brought in their big addition in terms of that was Bo Lowry, who's in charge of pretty much anything that's like the player's body. He's kind of at the very top of, and then has a lot of people under him. And the way they got him, he was at LSU. The way they got him, big paycheck. They gave him a massive raise. So yeah, anything Sean Payton's wanted, he's got.
And he had gone to LSU from the Saints.
Yep.
Like, it got to the point where LSU, having LSU money, was able to say, like, we need you to come take care of our football players.
Yep.
Able to convince him to leave. And the Broncos were able to swoop in and steal him away from LSU, who'd stolen him away from the Saints. Here's looking at level of investment.
Yeah. So he's doing pretty well, I would think.
Yeah. Did you play under Bo?
I don't know.
Okay.
Was he there when I was at the Saints?
I'm
Is that
not
what you're
sure.
saying?
It might have been.
He probably was. They had good food at the Saints. Really good food.
Huh.
I don't know if I played while he was there,
Is it
though.
like Southern food?
Sometimes on Fridays we would have like dragos, which are like charbroiled oysters.
Okay.
That were delicious and hard to
bet.
put down. But just overall they had good food over there. It's tough to remember everybody in different organizations. Like when you start looking at the amount of coaches and nutrition staff and player personnel, like there's tons of people in one organization. So sometimes it's hard, man, to remember everybody I've been around.
Yeah, Bo Lowry was the Saints director of sports medicine from 2017 to 2021. Oh, but he was the director of rehabilitation from 2014 to 2017.
Okay, so I was there.
Yeah.
But you probably weren't rehabbing anything.
Yeah, I was pretty healthy over there.
There you go.
True.
Yeah.
And last question coming in from our friend Zen Bronco says, my boys, it's been a while since I commented on the pod, but I still listen daily. Thank you. I really like the great addition to the pod with the great Todd Davis, in all caps. Says, you guys are getting me pumped for this season, even though y'all have a good residential Chiefs fan on the pod. Good thing Todd the Great, in all caps again, can counter him out. So a question I have for, in caps, Todd the Great, is that with the Hall of Fame possibility taking one Broncos linebacker in, who would you put as the top 5 Broncos linebackers of all time? Also, I will be there at the Chargers game in Denver this year in December and see you all at the tailgate. You guys are doing a great job and keep up. And most importantly, go Broncos.
That could be a big game.
That's a good question. I think Randy's up for Hall of Fame, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we
he's
find
still
out
not in
tomorrow
there.
at 11 a.m.
Yeah, I think he definitely has done enough to punch his ticket to get in the Hall of Fame. We've had a good list of Broncos going in recently, so I think it's been good for us.
Yeah.
It's hard to name a top 5, especially if you go inside and outside, because you talk about Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, they definitely have to be on there. Randy's on there.
Yeah.
Mecklenburg.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mecklenburg might be on there.
Al Wilson
Yeah.
Yep.
didn't play that long, but was really good. If you go inside, are you doing like
Romanowski for a season or a couple seasons?
Ooh, Bill.
How long was he here? Not long.
No, not long at all.
I'll check.
Yeah, if you go inside, you could do like Danny, Brandon,
Yep.
you.
True.
Just go all
Just
through your
all-
teammates.
yeah.
Josie.
Yep. Put us all in there.
Yeah, recently. Yeah, DJ Williams, someone says.
Romanowski was here for 6 years, and both of his Pro Bowls were while he was here.
How about that?
That's interesting.
Man, Bill Romanowski, one of the most interesting Broncos of all time.
Incredible in the bench warmers. Unbelievable.
Ian Gold, I mean, great
Yeah.
on defense as well. DeMarcus Ware, Todd, you mentioned a lot of them too.
Yep.
And we're going to be mentioning a lot of Broncos tomorrow when the Broncos take on the Rams in joint practice tomorrow and Thursday. There's going to be big shows. Make sure to stay tuned. Thank you all so much for rolling with us today. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out and have a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.